Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show!
The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years. You are listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show.
Boring.
A weekly podcast about sports since 2011.
Don't you ever get tired of being wrong all the time?
With a focus on football.
Sue, late in his career, is going to have his first Super Bowl title. Now, no wonder they want to call it Tampa Bay or Tampa Brady. One more snap, would you have guessed when this impossible season was trying to launch that you'd get it all in, you'd get to Tampa, and when the Super Bowl ended, the ball would be in the hands of Tom Brady.
I don't know why we ever think it won't.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a second Super Bowl title in franchise history.
And Tom Brady doesn't pass the torch quite yet to Mahomes, does he? Even though
you're looking at the greatest right there.
Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff. Ooh, and I noticed last minute that my camera setup is still set up for Girl Scout virtual meeting.
Oh, all right.
Not for me. I don't know if I need to point that out or not. But hey, welcome to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, episode 349. Here we are talking Super Bowl 56, our preview, just as we drew it up in, well, for us, July. Rams, Bengals. That's what we said, right?
I was half right. I was half right.
Yeah, we were on the Rams. We were high on the Rams this year, so we weren't far off on them. Rams, Bucks were kind of our two big NFC teams.
If you were on the Bengals,
yeah,
hey, power to you. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, excellent job if you picked the Bengals.
My son is very excited as he's liked the Bengals. I say for a while. It's all relative because he's not that old, but he's really excited about it, so that's kind of cool. And I don't know if it's the Eagles fan in me that's just like, be prepared to get your heart ripped out, kid. Like
that's how this works.
Right.
So we're going to preview the game. Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles. Hadn't happened in first 54 games. No home team ever played in the Super Bowl, and now we got back-to-back years with a team playing that is in their home stadium. It's a little unique this year because it's the home stadium for two NFL teams, but there was a great article, surprise, in The Athletic, writing up about how some of these things go on. I guess each team, in this case the Rams and Bengals, submit their game day things that always happen for them. Could be specific team roster coach related, could be grander, this is what we like to do, this is the content we like to create. They all submit that to the NFL and they try to accommodate as much as possible for both of them. The nice thing about it was that because the home team gets the home locker room, so the Bengals should technically have the home locker room. And they do, because the home locker room was designated as the Chargers locker room.
Okay.
So if the Chargers made it this year, they would have been in there because the AFC was going to get that. So they didn't. I bring that up because do the Rams have to go and use the visitors' locker room?
It would be
and
really
who
weird.
is the visitors' locker
really
room?
weird.
And we talked about this on the show, I think, last week. Are there 4 locker rooms there? I still don't know.
Right. I would be surprised if there aren't 4 there.
Or at least 3, you would think.
Yeah.
And
honestly, it probably has big areas that can be used as locker rooms, and they can bring in lockers that would look like they're permanent but aren't. Does that make sense?
Yes.
They can do whatever they want if they have the space, because it's a new stadium and it's the Super Bowl.
So fear not, the Rams will be in their own locker room. A few things that they do not get the perks of is, at least the coaching staff wise does not get their reserved parking spaces. Sean
Yeah.
McVay cannot roll up to his head coach parking space like he normally would because game day is different. Just because it's at SoFi, it doesn't it's not a Rams home game. It's technically an NFL home game, and the Bengals are the home team, which we got a cool uniform matchup. But what were you going to say?
I just it just reminded me during the NFC Championship game, they were posting the prices of parking anywhere within like a mile and a half of the stadium was hundreds of dollars.
Yes, it was.
And that was for the NFC Championship game. I can only imagine it's going to be similar. And before people like lose their minds over that, I remember when it was in New Jersey, it was a similar instance. And there's nothing around the stadium. Like at least here, like it's in the city. So like, you know, it. I don't want to say it makes sense because it doesn't make sense that it's that crazy. But like you understand, like parking's at a premium,
Right.
Whereas like there's a casino and nothing else around the Meadowlands. Like, but I think it was more security purposes for the Meadowlands.
Sure.
But like, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the game is next Sunday. 1 week from now will be probably about halftime, I would think. Maybe even coming out of halftime, getting ready to come out of halftime. And, you know, we'll be halfway to figuring out who is going to be the Super Bowl champion for the 2021 season. Game's February 13th, 2022. It usually kicks off at like 6:37 or something weird like that, something wacky. And I'm looking forward to it. I can truthfully say I don't really care which team wins. However, I will be rooting for the Bengals.
Yeah.
Only because they've never won the Super Bowl. We've been over. I don't have the image up. I'll have to throw up the other camera. But outside of the Dolphins, the Bengals were always one of my teams growing up. You know, eventually you kind of outgrow that and you focus on your one team. But I always at the back of my head, the Bengals, and I mentioned the Kajana Carter thing really kicked that into high gear. Unfortunately, his career didn't pan out there due to injuries. But the Bengals were always a team that I was very interested in. Didn't hurt that they also had the orange in their color scheme and matched the Flyers in the orange and black. Always thought their helmet was cool. So like all that stuff in those little kid uniforms and colors and, you know, their mascot, and then one of your favorite college players goes there. That was the kind of the perfect storm for them to be like my go-to second AFC team. Unfortunately, they've been terrible most of my life until maybe Carson Palmer came, but even then they couldn't get over the hump. So I will be pulling for them. I will not be disappointed if the Rams win. There are 2.5 Penn Staters if we count Troy Reeder, who was a great linebacker for Penn State in his short time in Happy Valley. He moved back home, went to play with his brother at Delaware, and now he's the starting middle linebacker for the Rams. But of course, Nick Scott is the big one that everyone's talking about, but Grant Haley also on the Rams, so they got the Penn State connection for sure.
Nick Scott will be the last interception that Tom Brady ever threw.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. I hope he kept that one.
Yeah.
Although Tom said he wouldn't be signing any more interception balls after that happened in the end of the regular season. I think he said he wouldn't do that anymore. But yeah, that's a big one for Nick Scott. I hope he got to keep that. So Justin and I we're gonna talk about the game. We have the prop bets to go over, which are always fun. But first off, I just want to say the Olympics are going on right now.
Yeah.
My wife and I, Kelly and I, have been watching a lot of the Olympics. We just kind of turn it on and let it go. We prefer the live stuff because usually by the time the tape stuff comes on, I already know what happened, and it takes the fun out of it. We were watching yesterday one of the taped mixed curling, and Kelly's like, "Oh, we're dropping the ball." I was like, "I know what happens. We lose, unfortunately." But we've been watching. I watched all 3 women's hockey games, which hockey is my favorite thing.
Have they lit it up?
Yeah, the women have been absolutely incredible, winning their first 3 games by a combined score of, what is it, like 20-2 or something like that. Only to be out-dueled by Canada in the lead-up. They beat Switzerland 12-1. The U.S. only beat them 8-0. Yeah, let's get into our weekly rant. We always have to have a weekly rant. We've had this one before. Or why there isn't more of an East Coast bias when it comes to some of this stuff. We talk about why does Monday Night Football have to start at 8:30 or whatever it is. Sunday Night Football too. Move that stuff a half an hour earlier. I don't really care what's going on the West Coast. No one should. No one out there likes sports. I don't understand why we care about them, and I'm only bringing this up now because both the women's and men's round robin USA versus Canada starts at 11:10 p.m. And no, this has nothing to do with the time in Beijing because the 3 other games the women have played so far have started at 8:10 a.m.
Right.
The Eastern time, my local time. And it was great. I turned it on at the shop the other day. The first game, got to watch that. It was awesome. Yesterday and today, woke up, got out of bed, got the girls fed, sat down and watched live women's ice hockey from Beijing. Awesome. You think they'd keep that schedule for the biggest game of the year? Because you know who's not watching women's Olympic hockey or men's Olympic hockey? Los Angeles. What part of the United States do you think is watching ice hockey? It's not California. Even if they have a whole bunch of team members on that team, a bunch of Olympic players on that team, they're not staying up to watch the game even at 8:10 in the evening. Why would you put that game? And it has nothing to do with the location of the games. That is all. They tried to maximize the market, and they went with the West Coast? Come on. How stupid. So stupid. It makes no sense whatsoever. Where are you playing ice hockey? You're playing in the extreme northern mid-Atlantic, whatever you want to call that up there. You know, Minnesota, which has like five or six female Olympic hockey players right now on Team USA. And the Northeast. Like, that's where you're getting your hockey audience. And they put 11:10 at night. 11:10. That's the first puck drop. The start of the first period.
It doesn't work for the majority of the Canadian population either.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like, it's not like the Canadian population is centric on the West. There's Vancouver, but then
that's it.
There's nothing until you get to the Eastern time zone.
Right. You're basically saying Toronto, Quebec.
Right.
No, how far west is Calgary?
Calgary's pretty far west.
Calgary's pretty far
Calgary
west.
and Edmonton are there, but those aren't actually big cities. Like, they're like the Green Bays of hockey, where they're population centers because of relative what's around. But you think about it, all of Canada is not the population of the Northeast U.S. Like,
right. It also boggles my mind because, and I don't know the Canadian women's hockey schedule. It was similar, not identical time-wise. But why would you go 3 games start at 8:10 a.m. Eastern and then bounce 1 to 11? Why wouldn't you want to keep them on the same schedule? Because 8:10 a.m. Eastern is 9:10 p.m. in Beijing.
okay.
It's a 13-hour difference.
Okay.
So if you were making them start late at night for the first 3 games, why would you then bump them to a mid-afternoon game?
Right. I would even understand if it was like
Or a noon
a
game.
little earlier in the morning here. And I know that doesn't work, but like in terms of like the timing over there. But like you said, that just shows it doesn't.
It has
not based
nothing
on
to
the
do
time
with
there.
But that's
Well, and
what,
here's another thing. Like, the ice hockey like venue is a different venue than like the speed
figure skating
and
and
all
speed
that stuff.
skating,
Like,
yeah.
it's not
No.
like they need to share.
Yeah,
that much
it is a
ice.
different ice hockey. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Speed skating and figure skating happen at the same building.
Yes, but they might even
That they might
a
be
lot
in
of them
different
have
rinks.
separate rinks.
Right.
I actually saw the one when we were in Utah, because I coach water polo. The pools are literally outside the building; they're outdoor pools, and that's the building for the Utah ones.
Yeah. Well,
and then we actually went up to Salt Lake City and saw some of the slopes and stuff. Too.
my late aunt was there. She was at the 2002 Salt Lake Games. I've been wearing.
She went to school in Utah.
Yeah,
right?
Utah State. Go Aggies. 20 years ago, she was there for the games. She saw a bunch of random things because it's tough to get tickets.
You get tickets.
You
where
kind of
can
go
get
for
tickets.
whatever. I forget what it was. My dad or my uncle might know if they're watching. If you remember what Aunt Deet saw when she was there 20 years ago, she brought back for all of her nieces and nephews. We all got. So the gear was created not by Ralph Lauren then, but by Roots was the name of the company, and we each got the beret that
nice.
athletes wore, the USA beret.
You probably lost your mind over this.
Oh yeah, couldn't believe it. Yeah, and I got a sweatshirt, which I've already worn during this ceremony.
That's cool.
We have a 2002 Salt Lake City Olympic Games Christmas ornament that is made from salt from the Great Salt Lake. That one is falling apart because it's an organic ornament. It's still in its case, so we won't ever get rid of it. But it is it's showing its wear over time. But yeah, she had a great time, and that is something I would love to do, is get to the Olympics. I don't know if LA 2028 is going to be in the cards.
I was going to say, to bring this full circle, we could go to the West Coast to go to the Olympics.
Just kill me now.
On episode, I don't know, 649,
Right.
Joey and Justin live from LA.
Hey, if someone wants to do that, I am all for it. I don't hate the West Coast as in I know. When it comes to television times that we bend over backwards for them. Why? Why? It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. Something that starts at 8 o'clock out here starts at 5 o'clock. If you're stuck in traffic, that's a you problem. I know they're probably like, if you have to go to bed at 11 o'clock at night, that's a you problem too. Touche.
This isn't about you. It's about me.
Right. Come on, get with it. So I'm just frustrated because I'm not going to stay up to watch USA Canada. I have to get up to work. I can't stay up until 2 in the morning.
Maybe I'll stay up and I'll text you when it says Joey has his do not
silent
silence on.
notifications.
I'll just be like, notify anyway.
Just call back twice so you know it's going to go through. Which my dad has done before.
Like, I'm going to text you, emergency.
Urgent.
Yeah. What?
Well,
actually, it's funny because when we do text each other, that it's usually not urgent at all.
No, yeah, we do it as a joke.
But not all the time. We save it for
It has
special
to be
non-urgent
special
moments.
jokes, yeah. 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 But I'm not going to get to watch live. And if I record them and try to watch them or watch the replay live, I'll know what happens. Like, you can't go anywhere with knowing the results. Like, that's just not going to happen.
Sure you can. Good luck with that.
Yeah, so the men's have not started their hockey tournament. So, no, you haven't missed any of that. Canada is clearly the favorite, I feel, in both, although they got bronze in 2018, the men.
Yeah, which
and
is all the more
the women lost to the United States.
Which is all the more reason why
they're going to get gold.
This one, because that's not acceptable.
I'm excited for the men's tournament. They have an opportunity to make some noise. They're very young. There are some talented young American players on the men's team. But the women's team, it is gold or bust. If it's not U.S. Canada in the final, I would be shocked with the way the two teams are playing. And if it's half as good as it was 4 years ago, we're in for a treat. So I hope people have been watching it because it's very good. And the U.S. is already shorthanded because one of their best players, Brianna Decker,
hurt in the first game.
In the first 10 minutes. I remember I was watching that game while I was working. I was out in my room doing my sandwich order boxing, and my dad yelled out, one of the Americans got hurt, and I went out and saw the replay. I was like, that's not good. At first we thought she had been knocked unconscious the way she laid on the ground, but here she was in so much pain from her leg injury. I think she broke her leg. I don't know that for sure. It's just been called a lower body injury, and she's been casted.
In true hockey fashion.
True, yeah. Just body injury. But she's sticking around and cheering them on. So they've looked really good to date. So hopefully they can keep it up. But let's get back to football here and talk Bengals-Rams. It's so funny. We talked right at the beginning about how you said, hey, if anyone had Bengals, kudos to you. I think starting with week 16, 17, when they clinched the division, Freezing Cold Takes posted that person it's a picture of Joe Burrow in a gator in a cart, and the caption from someone, I don't remember who it is driving to last place in the AFC North. This was posted over the summer before the season started, and Freezing Cold takes people's tweets and Facebook posts or whatever and just publishes them after something happens that makes them look foolish. And the Bengals won the North, they posted this. The Bengals beat the Raiders, they posted. The Bengals beat the Titans, they posted. The Bengals beat the Chiefs, they posted, because it's hilarious, and that's how every year there's a team like that. And the Bengals are the team this year. Just
and it's interesting because during the draft, I know we talked about how, man, they're not going with the linemen. They're going with Jamar Chase. Are they going to be able to keep him?
Chase?
Are they going to be able to keep him healthy? However,
no. Healthy enough, yes. Healthy,
upright, no.
Upright, no.
But did they maybe make the right decision anyway?
Yes.
Yes.
But now they know, what do we have to do to get even better?
Right.
We need to fix the offensive line. We need to add a few more defensive playmakers.
Right.
And I'm just going to come out and say it. On paper, the Rams should be favored to win this game, I think, by a lot.
Yeah, I think they should be too.
It's
not a great matchup for it's actually a terrible matchup for the Bengals.
But
on paper.
Well, do we want to just go into our predictions now?
Yeah, we can
okay.
We can do it.
The Rams are the better offensive team statistically. The Rams are the better defensive team statistically. The Rams are the better special team statistically. The Rams are not the designated home team, but they are playing at home. The Rams have a more seasoned coaching staff, although Sean McVay doesn't have that many more years on Zach Taylor. The Rams have veteran star quarterback.
Who was it? Oh, I saw Sean McVay won Georgia High School Player of the Year.
Yes.
The year.
Yeah, over Calvin Johnson. Yeah, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Did you see that Coach Palco from Mount Lebanon was named the high school coach of the year? The Don Shula High School Coach of the Year. Yeah, Pennsylvania coach winning that. Mount Lebanon, Whippeal, District 7, big school 6A. Right? Mount Lebanon taking down St. Joseph's Prep from the greater Philadelphia, Maryland, New Jersey, Delaware area. And good for them. Good for him. That's cool. And Mike Melnick was the coach out at Mount Lebanon for a number of years after being at Manheim Township, and he has a local Wilson, Reading area, Berks County connection as well. So congratulations to Coach Palco from Mount Lebanon. But everything says that this is the Rams game to lose. There's plenty of superstars there that were there 3 years ago when they lost in pathetic fashion to the Patriots. They're back again. They want to do better. Everyone, I think, expects them to win, which is why I'm picking the Bengals.
Right. And for all those reasons, I am
not just because I want them to win.
I'm picking the Rams. I think in this game, and I know it's kind of gone counter to that in the Bengals games, but I feel like it's a really bad matchup. And unlike the Titans, where the Titans were able to get a ton of pressure on, but the Titans are not good in their secondary. I know the Rams have been banged up in their secondary, but they're pretty good. And while I'm not a particularly huge Jalen Ramsey fan, you want a guy like Jalen Ramsey in terms of talent on your team. You need a guy like that. And I'm not saying they can just, they're going to go one-on-one Jalen Ramsey on Jamar Chase. That's not going to work. But, you need a guy like that to help you cover Jalen Ramsey or to help you cover Jamar Chase. And I think the Rams are going to be able to get pressure bringing 4 and tremendous pressure bringing 4.
That's my biggest concern as well.
I don't think the Bengals are bad. I don't think that they're so horribly outmatched here that they don't have a shot. I just think everything I see, when I look at it, makes me think the Rams are better. I should just don't overthink it. I just think the Rams are going to win. And I'd be okay with that. I want the Bengals to win. I'm going to be rooting for the Bengals. I'd be okay for the Rams. You mentioned a couple Penn Staters on that team. I'd be really happy for Matthew Stafford. Really happy for Matthew Stafford. I had forgotten the stuff about how his wife, they weren't sure she was going to survive. And all that stuff. I forgot all of those things. Just, I don't know. He's one of those guys that, to me, it speaks when you see all the guys that haven't been teammates with him for years. I'm not talking the guys just from Detroit last year. I'm talking Darius Slay and all those guys that have played with him.
They're all rooting
when they're
for him.
all tweeting out how happy they are for him. That tells me something. That tells me what other players think of them. And when you watch that stuff, They usually don't come out unless you guys like Jalen Ramsey or someone. They usually don't come out and like run their mouth against guys. But the silence can speak volumes in some of those things. That's not what's happening here. All these former Detroit guys are so happy for Matthew Stafford, and that tells me a lot of what they think of him. And so I'd be very happy for him. Even though I want the Bengals to win, I'd be happy for Stafford if they won.
Yeah, I can go into this, and honestly, I know there's a lot of people that would prefer one of the teams they hate be in the Super Bowl so that they have such a vested interest. A lot of people will go into this and be like, I don't really care who wins, and that's kind of where I'm at. But I just want to see a good football game, and I said that to you.
We've had such great games,
right? We have.
Such great games.
We went through a good decade or so where the games were awful.
Yeah,
the games were really bad, and then I remember the one that broke the mold was Rams Titans. Yeah. Was a good.
I was rooting for the Rams in that one.
I was rooting for the Titans in that one. I had just met Steve McNair, I think.
Oh, okay.
No, I met Steve McNair a couple years later. Then he tragically passed away on my wedding day.
Right.
I remember that, getting on the bus in State College, or not the bus, the trolley,
trolley,
and like you or Adam or someone was like, Steve McNair died, and I was like, wow, that's a downer. But he was a fun one. I met him at ESPN Club in the Disney World on the boardwalk. Got his autograph, some pictures. That's awesome. It was cool. He was a cool guy. I was rooting for them in the 2000 Super Bowl after the 99 season. I believe that's when that was. Or was it a year later?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to... No, I think that was it. I think that was the 99. I think that was the greatest show on turf. With
because it wasn't the 2001 Super Bowl. Because 2001 Super Bowl was the one you were at.
Yes, it was. Giants-Ravens, which just celebrated its 21st anniversary on January 28th. But, yeah, so I pulled up the camera with my little 1990s Bengals outfit that I had up last week.
I think if they win, you should put it back on.
Trust me, it does not fit. I wonder if I could get Haley to wear it.
By the way.
Or Logan. I should get Logan to wear it.
Stop by the shop this week, but when we were at my mom's and she had called in the order, and your dad took the order, and he was telling her how disappointed he is I'm not going to be eating
the mustard and mayo sandwich.
Yeah.
Did she know anything about
that? No, I don't think she did, because I think it was one of those, we talked about that around one of the time maybe the Ravens had a heartbreaking loss, and she was just not in the mood to listen. Right.
That's, my dad always says he turns on the show so that he has something to fall asleep to. So, the prop bets we're going to talk about here now are from Football Outsiders. They do it every year. I don't know if we use theirs every year, but we're going to use them this year. The first ones up are easy ones. They're against the spread, the game odds. So apparently, whatever site they're using, and I tried to find it in the article to see where these were coming from. I did not find it, so apologies to whatever betting site they're using to pull these odds from. But currently, when this article was published, they had the Bengals +4, Rams -4. It started out at 3.5, which you nailed specific last week on this show. You were like, I'm guessing it's going to be Rams -3.5, and that's exactly what it was.
That's what happens when we have Paul Roberts on enough. Like right. It starts to happen.
You become Zach Galifianakis with the math all over. Like you figured it out, huh?
I'll wear my wolf shirt next week.
So in this case, I take the Bengals. I'll take the points because I think the Bengals are going to win straight up. So if you're going to give me 4 points on top of that, I'm going to take that with imaginary money, because I would never, ever do any betting like this because it boggles my mind. If you read the Football Outsiders article, they basically tell you, like, while you're all suckers for betting some of these lines where they're at right now. The money line, Bengals +165, Rams -195. I wouldn't want any of that action either. Over under is an interesting one. The over is 48.5. So it's over under 48.5. And I would go maybe surprisingly under. I
agree.
I think when you look at it, each team's going to maybe get 3 to 4 touchdowns max. Like, the defenses are good enough that I think you could hold them to that, and that's going to put you right around 49 points. I think it's going to be a little bit lower than that. So I'm thinking it's going to be like 24-21. I don't think it's going to hit 49.
I think it favors the Bengals a little bit if it becomes a shootout, like just because you get that wild, crazy, like if they can't be stopped kind of thing. But yeah, I envision the Rams haven't played a ton of games like that. So I think it's going to be a little, I'm going to say slower, but just methodical. And so I think I would go the under as well.
Well, we saw, 3 years ago was when the Rams had that crazy offense, and we saw them play the Chiefs.
That might be too much in my.
Well, and then they did nothing, and they scored 3 points, right, in the Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Yeah,
they couldn't do anything.
No.
So do we see some of that pop up? Do we see nerves from? I mean, Joe Burrow's been so crazy and seems to be so cool all the time under pressure. Does this moment get to him or any of the other young guys on the Bengals staff or the coaching staff or whatever? Because the Rams, a lot of these guys have been there. The coaching staff, by and large, has been there. Does that matter? Does that play into the offensive or defensive game plan? I don't know. We'll see. But I would favor the under if the spread is at 48.5. MVP, I think it's almost always fairly easy and straightforward because you have to think the winning quarterback is going to get the MVP.
So I would put the winning quarterback at the top, or I would put Aaron Donald as I would put him above Cooper Kupp, because if Cooper Kupp does really well, Matthew Stafford's going to get it.
Right. By and large,
but if it's a low scoring game and Aaron Donald, just think what if he has 4 sacks, or 3 and a forced fumble, or
he's gotten
something
so
like
much
that.
hype over the last 5-6 years,
right,
that people think he should win MVP every year, blah 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 blah. That if Aaron Donald has causes a game-changing play where he strip sacks Joe Burrow at the end of them driving, and he's already had a sack or 2, I do think Aaron Donald could unseat Matthew Stafford if it's a lower scoring game. If Stafford has 5 touchdowns, Aaron Donald would have to have a magnificent game to unseat Matthew Stafford. But I agree with you. I'm surprised Cooper Kupp is up there that high, just because if he's getting the yardage and touchdowns, Stafford is too. Right. And they always favor the quarterbacks.
Right. So here you go. If you could pick someone from this list, I'm not saying, if you could just pick someone from the list to win the MVP, I'm not saying you think they would, but just because of thinking, oh man, what kind of crazy story would that have to be in order for him to win it? I'm just thinking Eric Weddle's down there at plus 30,000. They picked him up off the street 3 weeks ago. Literally, he was playing pickup basketball.
2 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown.
Right, something like that. Just something
honestly,
crazy. And what I'm saying is if you just had to pick someone and you're oh my gosh, how nuts would the game have to be in order for this person to win?
So I'll give you 2, 1 from each team.
Okay.
Cam Akers, because he's back from the injury and also has had fumbling issues. Yeah. If he has a clean game,
tried to give it away
over 100 yards and a couple touchdowns, I could see him winning it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then the one for the Bengals is going to be Aaron Donald, but on the other team, Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
If he does the same thing, that has a sack or 2 and has a strip sack of Matthew Stafford. Or they intercepts deflects a pass and intercepts it. I think those would be my 2. Cam Akers would be my under the radar pick, even though they have him at 7th or 8th overall. He's plus 4,000. Trey Hendrickson there plus 10,000 though, and he's the first Bengals defender, I believe, on the list. Kendall Blanton is a Bengals linebacker, I think.
All right, so
I don't even know.
Right,
some of these names I'm not even 100%
So if we look at
with.
it, part of me is all right, what would be more appropriate for a Bengals Super Bowl win than for Eli Apple to win the MVP?
No.
I know, I don't want it to happen, but think about it. If the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl, why not? If things are crazy enough where the Bengals may win the Super Bowl, think about it. Wouldn't it make sense that it could also be crazy enough that Eli Apple could win MVP? I don't want that one to happen, but that would be funny. It would just be funny to me because he's terrible and I don't like him, but whatever.
It would be interesting if it's Von Miller and not Aaron Donald to win it for the Rams, because would he be the first player ever to win the Super Bowl MVP for 2 different teams? because he won it
Possibly.
for the Broncos in Super Bowl 50.
Possibly. And what about if he, like, how many Super Bowl MVPs have been acquired mid-season?
Yeah.
Like,
So that would be an
you
interesting
know what I
one to
mean?
keep
Like,
an eye on.
I don't know if there's any that have been acquired in their first year. On the flip side, like, what about, and this doesn't even deal with MVP, but imagine if Cincinnati wins and Burrow wins it. Like, because the stat I read, I believe no one has won national championship, Heisman, and Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He has the chance to do that in a 3-year span. But also, like, imagine you could add NFL MVP on top of that.
Right.
Like, because you essentially, well, no, not with Heisman, I guess. The Heisman is what, like, makes that really, you have to be a quarterback pretty much. But, like, we also have another one. For a long time, it hadn't happened. Like, a number 1 overall quarterback hadn't won a playoff game, or a Super Bowl, not a playoff game, but a Super Bowl in a long time. And then we got through that. But here you have 2 former number 1s going against each other.
Yeah. What a game. I mean, it's interesting for sure. It may not be as sexy as the NFL or who's broadcasting, NBC.
Yeah.
Would have wanted it. You know, they wanted the Bucks.
Right.
They wanted the
But
Chiefs.
to be fair, like, to me, like, I feel like
Rams isn't too bad.
This is better than Titans. Like, I'd rather have
No,
the
you're
Bengals there. 'Cause
absolutely
you have Joe Burrow,
true.
like, and like, you've got this guy who's becoming a star, like, before our eyes, like, out of nowhere at LSU.
No, there are 2 big name quarterbacks. They're just not
right.
They're not Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and Tom Brady big. Stafford's never going to get there because he's
It's
up
too
there
late.
enough, but it's not going to get there. Burrow is on his way. Everyone thinks after a year and a half. You know,
Right.
coming off. That's the thing. He could win comeback player of the year in 3 nights.
Yeah.
You know, 4 nights, whenever that is. I think it's the 10th. So 4 nights from now, Joe Burrow could win comeback player of the year, and then 3 days later, he could be Super Bowl MVP.
Right.
Like the trajectory is just insane. But I mean, it's not an awful matchup for them. I think the Super Bowl could hit 100 million. I know it's been in the mid to high 90s by and large over the last decade or so. Million households watching. If it's a close game, I think it definitely breaks 100 million.
Yeah.
So I mean, you saw the what were the AFC and NFC championships? Because they were around 50,
I
right?
think
Something
so,
like that.
Yeah.
Each game was around 50. So easily the highest rated television shows outside of last year's Super Bowl. Of course, it's not in the calendar year, you know, whatever. Yeah, okay, let's get into some of the other ones. Coin toss. Even minus 105, heads, tails.
It'd be funny if it wasn't.
I'm normally a tails guy by and large,
Yeah.
which makes me say heads.
I'm going to go heads because I think of the Rams have the horn logo and, like, horns are on the head. Like,
And Bengals have tails.
right. So I think the Bengals are going to call tails. And I think
This
it will be heads.
conversation just reminds me of the Friends episode. It's like, what did he say? Oh, I forget what the 2 are. It's clowns and something else. And he's like, this is this because this has heads. And he's like, what kind of weird clowns are coming to
Yes.
your
Yes.
birthday party? Because Rams, I believe, also have tails.
Yes, but the logo is not a ram tail.
Bengals also have heads as well.
But Bengals have stripes on their heads and all over their bodies. Like, whereas
Right.
the ram logo, the horns are only on the head. If you have rams with horns elsewhere,
So
something's wrong with that ram.
Clearly. Heads or tails? What did you say?
I'm going heads.
You're going heads as well. So we're both on the heads for the coin toss. And the writers from Football Outsiders are both on tails. Team to score first. I'm going LA. I think the Rams do score first. I think it's going to be the Rams. I think it's going to start out similar to maybe, I don't want to say the Kansas City game because I don't
Not
think the
so
Rams
much,
are going
right.
up 21-3, but I do think the Rams could get out to a 7 or 10-0 lead before Cincinnati settles in. And they're a second half team. You know, we laugh all the time. Second half team. Penn State was like that for a number of years. Second half team. And I think that's what we'll see out of Cincinnati. I don't think the Rams build a huge lead, but I do think they get out to get into the end zone or at least through the uprights
Yeah,
first.
I'd go Rams too.
So what is the first scoring play? Now, you remember years ago, was it Broncos Seahawks? Was a
They
safety?
snapped it over his head, yeah.
So field goal or a touchdown?
One of the things I hated about that was people were like, "Oh, see, Peyton Manning can't get it done in the big game." Again, I'm like,
Snapped it over
he
his
didn't
head.
snap it. Like what?
Yeah, imagine if you had taken any other and put 100
Oh
down
my
on that.
gosh.
How crazy would you have to be to throw? I mean, but that's why people do it,
People
because
do
of
it.
that
And well,
insane
yeah,
moment.
the amount of money people throw away. I thought the one time I've been to Las Vegas, I was there on the divisional round playoff weekend, and like, we all throw in like $10 and do like a 4-game parlay, and we're out after the first game.
Right.
But then you have like you're there just watching the games and having fun just watching the games, and there are people who care a lot because they have a lot riding
Yeah.
on this. Like, just
I cannot
different
get
world.
into that.
Yeah, different world.
So, what do you think will be the first scoring play? Field goal, touchdown, or
I think
something
field
else?
goal. I think field
I'll
goal.
go touchdown just to be different. I think the Rams drive down the field on their first possession and get in the end zone, which has them feeling good. But it's not going to be the end for Cincinnati. Will the team that scores first wins the game? I'm going to say no.
There we go. I say yes.
Team to score last. I'm going to say Cincinnati is the team that scores last.
I agree. I'll give you that.
Will either team score 3 unanswered times? I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I agree. I say no.
All
I
right.
hope not. Like, I don't want it to be like.
Well, if that does happen, I want it to be twice, one from each team.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I
like
want
the
a
big
21 nothing
swings.
lead and then a 20. Like yeah, I want it to be because that is drama.
yeah.
That I either want high scoring back and forth or someone races out to a huge lead and someone
someone
comes
come
back.
back.
I don't want 10-3
So
or
you're saying
13-3
you
or
like the
whatever.
Super Bowl from 5 years ago when the Patriots jumped out or fell behind big and then
No.
came back.
I mean, I would like it if it didn't involve the Patriots, yes. All right, margin of victory. If you were picking one of these, so you have LA winning, I have Cincinnati winning. I'm going to go Cincinnati by 1-6.
I'm gonna go LA by 7-12.
Okay. All right. What will be the first offensive play, a run or a pass? Whew.
Well, I think the Bengals are gonna lose the toss, and I think
So the Rams are going to call tails. No, heads.
No, the Bengals are away, right?
No, the Bengals are the home team.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I got that mixed up. So, yeah, I think the Rams will call heads because there's
Because Rams have heads.
Rams have
Right,
heads.
we've been there. We've had this discussion.
And so then because of that, I think they're gonna take the ball, and I think they're gonna run first. I think Cam Akers is gonna get a handoff. On the
Okay.
first play.
I'm going to say pass.
Okay.
I think they both want to come out and showcase their quarterbacks, and I think the first play will be a pass. The highest scoring quarter, I'm going to say the third quarter is going to be the highest scoring.
I'm gonna say second quarter.
Okay.
Second quarter's gonna be the highest.
All right. So who's our first touchdown scorer? So we both are on record saying the Rams score first.
Yeah.
So we're looking for Rams here. Who do we think it's going to be? I'm going to go maybe a tad unconventional, but I think I'm going to go with Tyler Higbee, the Rams tight end.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Odell.
Okay. I hope not, but okay.
And I hope he runs to the sideline and does a celebration with Jalen Ramsey. Like they make an instant commercial and then it plays in the commercial break after the thing.
Do we think... I'm
You
just going to
ignore
ignore
my
that.
yeah.
Do we think that a touchdown's going to be over 42 yards?
The longest touchdown or that for
The
any?
longest touchdown
No.
in the game. I agree. I think
That's a long touchdown.
and like believe the writers here on Football Outsiders they're saying all those Chase and Cup touchdowns from the playoffs in this year and they all have broken some, but I don't see it happening.
yeah,
in
but
this
most
game.
of those weren't 43 yards. Like, you can have a 40-yard touchdown, which is a long touchdown, not hit on this. So
Yeah. I'm
say
definitely
under.
going under. Shortest touchdown of the game, but they're putting it at 1.5 yards.
I'll go under. I feel like there's going to be someone at the line,
I'm gonna go opposite and say
Okay.
over. Say
See,
no one.
I'm gonna say like there's so many times where like it gets down there and like a team will stop them for a down or two, or like somebody they thought was in the end zone but they weren't. Like I'm going under.
Which team makes the longest field goal, LA or Cincinnati, or neither? I'm gonna go Cincinnati.
I'm gonna go Cincinnati too.
McPherson.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Will the first turnover of the game be an interception? I'm actually going to say no.
I'm gonna say yes.
I think it's going to be a fumble, whether it's a strip sack on a quarterback or a running back or receiver. I'm going to say it's going to be a fumble, so I'm going to say no to that one. Does the game go to overtime? I also believe no.
No.
I don't think that's going to happen. Will there be a missed PAT conversion? Let's call Paul Roberts. We're talking gambling and kickers missing PATs. I'm going to say no. I think that both kickers are very good in that regard, and it's listed here in the article. Matt Gay, the LA Rams kicker, is 48 of 49 on PATs, and Evan McPherson was 46 of 48. So I do not think there's going to miss the PAT. Who's the first team to punt, LA or Cincinnati? I'm going to go Cincinnati on this
Same.
one.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think LA jumps out to an early lead. I think maybe Cincinnati struggles a bit. I do have the Bengals winning, but I do think they're also the first team to punt. How many players will have a passing attempt? So they're basically saying, is anyone besides Stafford and Burrow going to throw a pass? Could it be a backup quarterback due to an injury, or could it be a running back receiver?
Yeah, I was thinking like 2.5. I was thinking like per team, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like did they
definitely
think
under
like
that.
three
No.
people? And
I do think I'm going to take the over, though. I do think that we could see a pass.
You could see a fake punt. You could see.
Could we see like Chase to Burrow, like a
Right,
throwback of
something.
some sort?
Yeah.
I don't think you're getting that. I don't think you're getting Odell to Stafford, but I could see
Odell has done it.
But I could see Odell to Cup or something like that.
And isn't Odell left-handed too? So like he runs
Is
opposite.
he southpaw?
Yeah, because I remember he hit that one against Dallas when he was playing for the Browns last year. I think. Yeah. So.
Will a touchdown be overturned by replay? I
Yes.
say no. No. I do not think that's going to happen.
For my love of sin.
Will either team attempt a 2-point conversion? I want to say no.
I hope not, because if they
I hope
do,
the
I feel like
Bengals
it'll
win
be a
on a
team.
2-point conversion.
Oh my
They're
gosh, can you imagine?
tied. They score on the last play of the
No.
game.
Yeah, and
They-
they're down one, and they go
Right,
for
and
it
yeah,
instead of,
they
like,
go.
tying it up.
Could you imagine? Oh,
Can you
does Zach
imagine-
Taylor
can you
have
imagine if they don't make it?
brass?
Oh my gosh!
Whew, that would be something.
Not just 2-point conversion. You fake
you fake
it
the
from
PAT.
the further back distance. No one would ever expect it.
Oh my God! Could you imagine? Oh, will there be an onside kick attempt in the game? I'm
gonna say yes.
I'm gonna say no because I think the Bengals take the lead late and they kick it off.
Okay, so I had the Bengals as the last team scoring, and I think they're
Oh,
gonna
so then they
score to
would-
cut it,
and
and they
then-
will attempt the onside kick, but not get
They're
it.
gonna cut it to like 7 or something like that. Will a special teams or defensive touchdown be scored? I want to say no.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. Like I think it's a possibility, but like it's hard to do.
It is hard to do, and I don't. Do they mention the Rams here? The Bengals only have 2 return touchdowns this season. The Rams also have 2, so
Do you imagine Nick Scott got one? Cool.
that would be pretty cool. So I'm going to say no to special teams or defensive
Or,
touchdown.
Here we go. I don't even know. He's probably not even in on those, but like Grant Haley picks up a blocked field goal and runs it back for a touchdown. Like, can you imagine?
Oh my gosh. Wow, that would be something. That would be something. All right, here we go. Some player props. Passing yards, Burrow or Stafford?
More?
I'm going to say
Burrow.
I want to say Burrow because if they're playing from behind, especially as the game goes on. But honestly, I think if Cincinnati does win this game, I think Mixon has to have a lot of ground yards. So I almost think it might be Stafford. It might be Stafford. Of course, I also said that maybe Cam Akers is the long shot for MVP. I want to say Burrow, but I am going to go Matthew Stafford.
I'm going to go with Burrow on this one.
All right, Stafford and Burrow over 4.5 combined passing touchdowns.
I'll go over.
So one gets 3, one gets 2. or 4-1, which that would make
That
probably
would-
for a boring game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say over. I think we see at least a 3-2, and I'd prefer to see like a 4-3. I think that would be fun.
5-4.
Screw it. 7-6. Most receiving yards, Chase or Cup?
If they hit 7 and 6, there goes our
There
under.
goes the under, yeah. Jamar Chase or Cooper Kupp, who has more receiving yards? It's tough for me to pick this one because both teams have a lot of options, a lot of good, talented options. I feel like Kupp gets more catches, but I think Chase has more yards.
Okay. Yeah, I can go with that. Yeah.
All right, here's a fun next one. Kupp, Chase, Higgins, and Beckham each have over 49.5 receiving yards.
No. Because, like, easily one of those guys could have, like, 3 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. Not each, but, like, and that's a solid game, but that would still be the under here. So, like, I don't think so.
I'm gonna say yes.
Oh my
I'm gonna
gosh,
say
that
that
would be fun.
Because I think Kupp, I think Chase gets close to, if not over 100. I think Kupp is in the 80s, but I think Higgins and Beckham I think are in the 50 to 60 range.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say yes. So they're going over 49.5. All 4 of them individually have to go over 49.5. So hopefully my uncle is writing all these down because otherwise I have to go back and listen to this episode again and most rushing yards, Joe Mixon or Cam Akers. I'm gonna say Mixon because I feel like he is the one feature back for the Bengals,
I'm gonna go
and the Rams tend to rotate
Yeah.
through their group of guys. They have Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel too.
Yeah.
Henderson's back, right?
I think so.
Okay.
But even not. Sonny Michel.
But even so, I don't think, unless Cam Akers gets hot and is in the running for MVP because he's running
Right.
so well, I would favor Mixon here to get the
Yeah.
most rushing yards.
But even then, if Akers is in the spot for like MVP, like I think Burrow's going to need to be throwing more.
Right,
So like
that's
I
true,
think it
yeah.
plays into each other.
Do Mixon or Akers have 100 yards rushing? I'm gonna say no.
I'm going to say no too. Again, I think they have a good game. I don't think they get to 100.
Right.
If either here we go. I know this isn't one of the things, but if one of them does, I think their team wins. Like if Akers runs for over 100 yards, I think the Rams win. If Mixon runs, I think Mixon needs to be over like 125 for them to win. Like, you know what I mean?
Man, that would be tough against that.
I
Rams
agree.
front.
I agree.
This one I think is easy. Total sacks in the game over 4.5 or under 4.5. I'm going over.
I'm going over
with the
too.
way Burrow got sacked 9 times against
with the
the
way
Titans.
Burrow gets sacked and with how immobile Matthew Stafford is, like I think
you could see 6, 7, 8 sacks in this game.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I'm not interested in interceptions.
I like the one that was like, was this total sacks or just Bengal sacks?
Oh, okay. Here's a couple fun ones to end on. Cross sport props. Which will be higher? Cooper Kupp total receptions or USA gold medals at the 2022 Winter Olympic Games? I have to go USA golds here.
I'll go with golds.
Cooper Kupp is
like, to be honest, I have no idea how many gold medals like we typically get.
wow. So the U.S. is pegged for only upper single digits in gold this year. Really, that surprises me.
It doesn't
me.
It doesn't really surprise me at the Winter Olympics, because they were talking about how, like, I think it was like women's figure skating, like they basically said like anything other than Russia 1, 2, 3 is like a massive like upset.
Well, there's this
like
15-year-old like prodigy, like generational or multi-generational.
They were also
talent.
talking, I guess 4 years ago, like triples like won it, and now like everyone in the field
can do it.
can do multiple quads.
Oh,
like
nice.
yeah, there was something absurd like that. Like, again, using terminology that I don't really. I mean, I understand that triple means 3 and quad means 4, but like I don't.
Oh, is that
really
what that
know
means?
like what they're referring to, other than spinning lots.
So Well, I think
I
Cup's going to be like 6 for 80 and a touchdown, and I think the U.S. is going to get at least 8 or 9 golds. So I'm going to say USA golds.
Okay, let's go with USA golds, and
All
I
right.
hope Cup has like 12 receptions, and I hope we're still right.
I hope that's right. If Cup ends up with double-digit receptions,
15 receptions.
I hope the USA
for
golds
300 yards, and we're still right.
Which will be higher? Bengals total touchdowns. I don't care about this one whatsoever. Yellow cards and Leicester
Bengals
versus West
touchdown.
Ham United. Bengals touchdowns. Nah, I don't care. Some of these I just don't care.
What was
about.
that last one? I didn't even see
It was Jason Tatum 3-point field goal against the Hawks. I just don't care. Akers and Mixon combined total rushing yards versus the winning time in seconds at the 2022 Kentucky Derby.
You gotta wait.
You gotta wait.
You gotta
what,
wait
3
till
months?
May to
to
cash it.
figure out. This is a funky one. So the fastest ever time for obviously was Secretariat, which was just under 2 minutes. So
Which would only be
119. Oh, they're going over 119. Well, that's the fastest though.
Yeah,
2 minutes and a little change. So we're talking 120 yards.
I'm gonna go Akers and Mixon combined total.
Yeah,
so.
I'm surprised. They give the horses better odds to combine for 2 minutes and change, 120 yards, 120 seconds.
Well, no, the plus 110 would be they're slightly underdogs.
Oh, I'm saying the guys from Football Outsiders are both going with the horses. I shouldn't. I phrased that incorrectly.
But I think they picked passes for like they think
they
it's
did. They
gonna
think
be
it's going to be all
passing game.
pass. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Total goals in the NHL on February 13th, or first half total points in the Super Bowl. See, I don't know how many games they're playing. So do they even bring that in here? It's tough. That's a tough one. It lists here. 1, 2.
4
Oh, there's
games,
only
I think.
4 games. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm going with the first half points.
Yeah, I would as well. I would go with the NFL
Because
here.
they predict 25. If there's 25 over those 25 goals over 4 games, that's a decent amount of scoring in hockey, and like that would be, that's not.
All right,
I'm taking the first
we
half.
got to wrap it up with a few of these exotic props that we've talked about in years past. So one, how long will the national anthem take? So it's at 1 minute and 27 seconds. Is the time that they're putting here. The guys here, Brian and Andrew from Football Outsiders, both went with the over. And if it was up in the 140s, I was going to take the under. But 127 seems pretty quick for a mainstream huge event like this. I'm going to say over as well. I think we're looking at
I'm going
like
over.
in the 130s or so.
Yeah.
What did they say? A sub 90-second anthem would be absolutely stunning. He said if they added an extra 27 second, I'd still be taking the over. So yeah, they're looking at closer to 2 minutes. I'm getting some texts here. My uncle is watching, so let's get caught up on his text shenanigans here. He said he once won a football card by picking 10 correct props for $10, but had to share with 4 other guys. Still a nice $500 win. That is nice.
Yeah.
As long as the final score ends in Rams 1, Bengals 8. I don't care who wins, but he's rooting for Stafford. So he's in the Hollywood Super Bowl Squares game. Rams 1, Bengals 8. Hey, 28-21. But that would smash our over under. He said too much to write down. You'll have to rewatch the show. Oh, thanks a lot, man. I was looking for our historian here to have my back on this. All right, the last ones before we wrap it up. Which song will Eminem perform first at halftime? Oh boy.
I think Real Slim Shady.
You think Real Slim Shady?
Yeah. Or Lose Yourself.
I was favoring Lose Yourself. I don't think he's gonna perform Stan.
No. I don't know, but I don't.
I
think so.
Yeah. I honestly, the other 4 I would think would be great
My
for
name
him
is
to do.
is
Yeah.
fine. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna they have to edit them. I'm sure they had to go through a lot of
There's gonna be
legalese.
they're gonna bump the buffer time up to like the
15
delay does,
seconds.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh man. So which one are you? What is your final decision on the?
you know what? I'm gonna go. My name is.
All right, I'll go with the real Slim Shady then. But any of those first four, I think make a lot of sense for him to.
I feel like you will hear "Lose Yourself" in like pregame stuff because he's performing,
which means he wouldn't perform it at halftime.
Right,
I think
right,
though.
right.
So I think. I think My Name Isn't Real Slim Shady would be my two favorite ones because I think Lose Yourself will be used leading up to it. Will a brand new song be featured? I want to say no.
I don't think.
I don't think that's a great.
That doesn't mean it's a song I know, but brand new, I don't think so.
Okay, what color will the first liquid be poured on the game-winning coach?
I'm going with
it's
yellow.
Rams, Bengals.
I'm going yellow. I think the Rams win, and it's going to be yellow.
I'm going to go orange. I think the Bengals are drinking that orange Gatorade or whatever it is, Propel or whoever has the license.
Nice.
I'm sure it's probably Gatorade. So I'm going to go with orange. Who will the Super Bowl MVP mention first in his speech?
Teammates.
Yeah, that's the odds-on favorite. It's at -125. I think because it's going to be, because I think it's going to be Cincinnati, I'll go with the city.
Okay.
I think he's gonna call out first Super Bowl ever for the city of Cincinnati. I think he brings that up. Teammates, coach, I think are going to be right there behind, and the family too. Like those are all really good ones. But usually the MVP, I feel like they want to mention. I feel like if it's Joe Burrow, he's going to want to mention the city of Cincinnati. Like I just feel like, they both. I didn't even read it. They both went with city here. Brian and Andrew from Football Outsiders.
Well, and it would make sense because if they win in LA.
Oh right, I didn't even. Of
Right.
course, I wasn't even thinking of that angle. I think either team winning here, I think City is my favorite. Yeah, I think that's a good one. So that's a good one to wrap up on. Super Bowl 56 is in Los Angeles. A week from tonight, we'll be probably deep into the third quarter at this point, maybe even in the fourth quarter. And I just hope it's a good game. Hope it's played well. Hope it's officiated well. And I hope there are no injuries. I don't ever want to see anything like that happen at this stage of the game, at this juncture. We saw it already in the Olympics. I don't want to see it in football when I get to the off season where all of our teams, everyone talking here and listening out there, all our teams most likely, we get to say we're 0-0 on Valentine's Day a week from tomorrow because we'll be on to the 2022 regular season, and Justin and I will have a very early look at that, I'm sure, on episode 350 in 2 weeks. We're off next Sunday, as we always are, to watch the Super Bowl, but we'll be back a week later to recap the Super Bowl and give our early look at the 2022 season. The week after that, so 3 weeks from now, Justin and I will be doing a show, but it will be Bulldog Hour. Will be our first episode for Season 8 of the Bulldog Hour, and we're actually going to be joined by Jim Berkman from Spotlight on Berk Sports. We'll talk about our Wilson football stuff, schedule, new classifications, things like that, and then talk to Jim about some of the winter sports around Berks County and how the Wilson winter sports teams have done to date. At that point, 3 weeks from now, majority of the winter sports will have been done or wrapping up or deep into playoffs. The Berks County basketball playoffs will be over. They'll be working their way through districts at that point. I believe swimming and diving, other than maybe states, I think are finished by then.
Yeah, I know the schedule gets weird for them, but yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot to talk about on Bulldog Hour in 3 weeks. But again, episode 350 of this show, our Super Bowl 56 recap, will be in 2 weeks. And much to the chagrin of my dad and uncle, once March gets here and we kick off episode 351 of the show, we will be back on our NCAA football gaming seasons, which it feels like we didn't do that all that long ago, but the last time we did that was July, I guess.
Yeah,
June or July. So it has been a while. Justin and I will be kicking off year 3 with the Florida Atlantic Owls and see what we can do.
Time to dominate.
Yeah, we need to get to that national championship game. That's the big one.
I'm going to be rusty. I haven't played
I haven't
since June or July.
I have not played in a long time either, probably since August is probably the last time I played. Like once football started, I kind of forgot about it. I didn't have time, and I haven't picked it back up since. So that is probably something I need to do in the coming weeks to knock the rust off and get used to playing that game again. But we got another month to go until that happens. Super Bowl next week. Recap 2 weeks later. Bulldog Hour 3 weeks, and then the gaming will start again. But we always talk sports while we're doing it, so we're hoping you'll still join us to watch and listen, and we'll talk about whatever, probably football. I mean, that's probably usually what we end up. I mean, who knows if baseball will even have started by then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Maybe we can have Rob Manfred on because he doesn't do anything. But...
yes. Good times. Good times. I mean, the Flyers are awful, too, so it's not like we have hockey to pay attention to.
So Claude Giroux wins NHL hockey
All-Star
Game
game
MVP.
yeah.
Which, by the way, I feel like this was understated. How cool was it? I know the Pro Bowl is a joke, but that both had their All-Star festivities in Vegas on the same weekend.
I know. How crazy was that? I would have loved to have been there to go to that.
Right.
I mean, I don't care about the All-Star game or the Pro Bowl. It'd be a cool thing to be at.
Yeah. I feel like that's awesome.
Yeah, that is really
cool.
But
I've reached the point where I'm like, the Flyers don't deserve Claude Giroux.
No, like he needs to move on.
Right. Like, and I don't know if he wants to, but like, they deserve to let him go where he wants to go.
Vegas should host the NBA, NHL, and NFL All-Star games in Vegas every year.
So here you go.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or something like that.
And do it. Oh my gosh, like this would be kind of cool. So hear me out. It wouldn't work. It would have worked this year. This year would have been a perfect time to do it. Put the Pro Bowl again the week after the Super Bowl, because that's President's Day weekend, which is when the All-Star break is for the Sixers. Well, yes, but also for the NBA. But then NHL, if they would have given them the Olympic break, let them come back for the All-Star stuff to kind of like ease back into it and then go back to your team. You know, like, I know that's a logistics nightmare, like planning around the Olympics and stuff, but like it just would have been cool. Like, yeah, all three of them there. Oh man, that would be incredible.
A heck of a weekend. Wow. Yeah, that would have been a good one.
Yeah,
that is cool that both NHL and NFL were there the same weekend, though. Someone had a good time. Someone had a real good time. Yeah. So, but I think that's about it. Trying to feel like if there's anything I want to mention. Well, we won't be on the air next week, so we'll get this out there now rather than do it before than after. Happy early birthday to my Uncle Rich. We'll be celebrating in about a week and a half.
On the 15th, correct?
And then, and then 2 weeks from now.
So I remember that because it's the same as my sister's.
Oh, right, yeah. So, happy early birthday to Andrea as well. And less than two weeks now, 2 weeks from now when we're back on the show, week after the Super Bowl, I will have seen my my uncle and all the family from New England, as we will be celebrating May's Sandwich Shop's 75th anniversary on Saturday, February 19th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we will, among other things, be selling ham and Italian small subs for 75 cents while supplies last. My dad was like, you need to start like putting that places because I feel like we might run out. 10 years ago, we did this for the 65th. It was very well received. We had a lot of fun. We sold close to 800 sandwiches that day, just of the ham and the Italian, and I think we could break that. We could only get so much product in for that day, right. So it is while supplies last. But we look forward to celebrating with the West Lawn community and all of our loyal customers over the year, and hopefully anyone out there watching or listening stops by, not this coming Saturday, the following Saturday, February 19th, from 10 to 2 at May's Sandwich Shop in West Lawn. And you can stop by and see my uncle, the famous Uncle Rich from the Joe Mays and J-Raff show.
We should get him a shirt with historian on the back. Like instead of staff, you know.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, we'll be there. Most of us will have yellow Mays shirts on, and the special few that bought the Mays hockey jerseys will be sporting those as well throughout the day. So it should be a fun time to hang out and celebrate 75 years. So I think that's it, though. Anything else from you, Justin?
I don't think so. Big win for Penn State.
Penn State wrestling.
And also one of the craziest endings to a basketball game you'll ever see. The Wilson game yesterday.
That was crazy.
I got to see Aiden today at second grade basketball.
Oh, did
the
you?
High school kids help out and give him a hard time. Like, and he said it, and this is what I texted his dad too. But he was like, "It's gonna be the best missed foul shot I ever have in my life." I'm like, yes it will.
Yeah,
It was just cool.
I think they were in shock. Like, I mean, their momentum, or not, their adrenaline was carrying them, and they absolutely took over in overtime.
And Mike Drago mentioned that in his article. Just like Methacton seemed shell shocked.
They wouldn't be denied.
Like, they just seemed like, oh my gosh.
I know there was a segment of Methacton fans that said that Cam's shot shouldn't have counted because it left his hand at 0. But if you watch the video and you can scrub through it, it's out of his hands. You can see space between the ball and his hands as the .1 is changing to .0. So it was launched. Right. It was a good shot.
Here's an idea.
Crazy.
Make a foul shot. Like, They
Were
missed
they over
3.
7?
They missed 3, but they were all front ends of 1-1 in the fourth quarter. Like, this is separate from that. I keep score for other ones, and I'm always like, I feel like a missed front end of a 1-1 should count as 2 missed foul shots because you missed the
second one, yeah.
But
yeah, but Methacton was 18-1 coming into that game, the best team in District 1.
Yeah,
and
District
Wilson,
1 who takes 30-some teams into their district playoffs because there's so many big schools, right? And they're a really good team. Like that's the best team Wilson's beat all year.
Well, and Wilson's been haunted by their own free throw issues. Now, this was at the beginning of the season, beginning of 2022, when they had that loss to Exeter. I know that was a rough one, but it was great to see them do that, and what an end of the game that was. Last thing, I know we keep drawing this out, but another positive for Penn State football, local product, 4-star offensive lineman, the number 2 rated prospect in Pennsylvania for the class of 2023, Javen Williams from Wyomissing, offensive lineman, just committed to Penn State yesterday, which is awesome.
And Penn State 2 top 100 linemen for next year's class.
Yeah, Birchmeyer's the other. And friend of the show and one-time supporter of the show, Bruce Badgley, said someone's going to have to get a Penn State to Berks to Penn State shuttle going because you got Nick Singleton already up there. And now the next class you'll have Joey Schlaffer and Javen Williams going up there, and that's not even to mention all the run-on guys that are already on the team, including Wilson's Caleb Brown. And then you have Trace Brown, which I believe is his cousin.
It is.
Joining him next year as a run-on. Grayson Klein is still up there at Wilson Connections. Justin Weller has decided to move on after playing for 5 years at Penn State already.
And getting like 2 degrees already.
But there's a great Berks County to Penn State connection going on with the football program right now, which I'm all here for. We're not going to cheer for Mifflin, Exeter. Well, we're not going to play Wyomissing ever anyways, but we're not cheering for them when they're playing the Bulldogs. But if you want to go play for Penn State, I'll cheer for you.
What we said about Singleton on as
soon as we were done.
Done. Like, look, I hope he does fantastic things from here on out.
Yes, that would be great. So, and I had Coach Steve O'Neill on the show last month, about 5-6 weeks ago, when Justin wasn't around, and he was deep in the recruiting process for Javen. And I never, I didn't want to pry or anything with either Steve or
you don't want to,
or
but
the athlete.
You want to.
But I was just kind of like, wow, does Penn State have a chance here?
Right.
Drago has a great article about the commitment and talked to Javen. He kind of wanted to have it over, and Penn State felt like the right fit for a variety of reasons, but geography is one of them. He wants to be able to have friends and family come and watch him play in an easy, quick fashion, and he also wants to be able to come home on the weekends too when that's an opportunity for him. So it seems to have worked out. I hope those commitment sticks. I would love to be able to get back to a Penn State game and see all that Berks County flavor on the roster, especially with some of these big names that could step in to play soon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that is finally it. We're going to head out of here. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, episode 350 on February 20th. Enjoy Super Bowl 56. Rams, Bengals in 1 week from now. Until next time, For Justin Raffoff, I'm Joe Mays. Thanks for listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. Woo-hoo! You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your emails to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as The Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.